Will the film still be profitable? We haven't made it there yet. Sinners is doing a hell of a great job at the box office. If we're going to look at Box Office Mojo right now, domestically, it is at $128 million, $741,500. And that's great. That is great. That is incredible. I am super duper excited to be reporting this right here. I really am. 3,300 theaters, that's what's up right there. But what the talk of the town is, guys, is this drop that it had from first weekend to second weekend. If we scroll down and we click domestic weekend right here, the first weekend, it made $48 million off of a $90 million production budget, which is quite high. A little, we're going to be talking about that as well. And its second weekend, over the estimates that came out Sunday, because I'm filming this on Tuesday, said 6%, but we actually have the numbers here. 4.8% drop. Guys, for context, for clarity, that is unheard of. That never, ever happens, like ever. The only two movies that have done better than that for a first to second weekend whole is Avatar, that came out in 2009. And I think like the first Shrek movie, maybe when it was re-released or something like that. Seriously, there's a couple of other films that are close, but I actually had to look that up. And I have it right here, Avatar. We all remember this film that came out in 2009, one of my favorite movies of all time. But when we hit the domestic weekend right here, its opening weekend was 77 million, and then its second weekend was 75 million. So it had a 1.8% drop. And so, I mean, drops like this are just unheard of. That never happens before, at all. And so just like kudos right there. I think that is solely for the word of mouth and the quality of the film. People are like, oh my gosh, you got to go see this movie. You telling everybody, your mom, your daddy, cats and dogs, everybody's going to go see the movie. Now, will the film still be profitable? We haven't made it there yet. And a lot of people got on my case for that, just saying, Brandon, you don't know what you're talking about. Brandon, you need to do some more research. Brandon, why are you making a video like this? What's the point? Is this constructive? Why are you being so negative and only picking on Black movies? You've never done this before. What is the deal? So just so you can have some more clarity and context as well, if you go to my YouTube channel, and this search bar right here, if you just type in box office and we want to click enter, bam, there you go right there. I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger. These are all of the past episodes on my channel that I've covered the box office. And you can see it goes back to 5 years. I'm talking The Lion King, Deadpool and Wolverine. There's, the Sinners film right here. Here's also a playlist of over 43 videos and 15 in this one. So I've been doing this for a while. This is 5 years ago, talking about Avengers Endgame, Flop City, all the bombs, John Wick 3, Star Wars, Captain Marvel. I mean, you can see it right here on the screen. Beetlejuice. I did that one last year. So I am not saying this as if I'm just Mr. Know-It-All Brandon. I am just saying this because I have talked about this before on my channel 5, 6, 7 years ago. And here are my receipts. I'm not just picking on Black films or anything like that, or want Black people to lose. I've seen a lot of fishy, hairy comments. And so, I mean, look at this. Disney's 2019 box office bonanza, So again, I have been discussing this for quite some time. And so if you want to look at these past videos and possibly provide some constructive criticism on how I can do better in the future, if I decide to talk about box office more, I would really appreciate it. But I stopped talking about it because Box Office Mojo was my main source of information. As far as all the data, they took it away and put it behind a paywall. And 5, 6, 7 years ago, I wasn't making that much money on YouTube as I am now. So I just couldn't afford it back then. It wasn't that cost effective. So I was just like, and they took the data away. I just lost interest, but I'm here now. Of course, I want Black people to win. And I also usually do this with big superhero blockbuster films. So I'm going to talk about the box office for Thunderbolts as well. But coming back to Sinners, to ask the question, is this a success? Or is it a home run? Have we made it out of the forest yet? And not quite. I'm still concerned. And the reason why is look at this worldwide total right here. And while we're doing great domestically in the US, we're not really doing that great internationally. Now, when I made the video last week where it says black people are not supporting sinners enough, to be honest, guys, of course, I made it clickbaity on purpose, but it still holds weight. I don't make stuff clickbaity, or I don't mind it itself as long as you're not lying, and so I honestly did feel that way. And one reason I felt that way is because I was initially trying to compare this film to Nope that came out in 2022 and also Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Because when Variety or all these other publications that made their initial articles last week, some people were in defense saying, wait a minute, this is the same deal that Quentin Tarantino made for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It had a similar budget. You see, $90 million here. And that's the same with Sinners, $90 million as well. It's not right here, but, of course, if you go to Google, 90 million US. And also just for receipts, the marketing, so the production budget is $90 million. The marketing budget is a completely separate budget. That's in, 50 to 60 million. So when I was looking at Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it had a similar opening as well, $41 million, while Sinners had a $48 million opening. So that's somewhat close. I'm very, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood ended up making 142 million in the United States. And right now, Sinners is at 128. I am very confident that Sinners will surpass the domestic gross of $142 million. I mean, at the very least, I think it'll get 150. And let's just go ahead and talk about that right now. Let me just scroll down here. 48 the first weekend, 45 the second weekend. As far as films opening up this week, I have it right here, or at least I thought I did. Okay, we have Thunderbolts coming up this week. And then the week after that, we have, let's see, I do want to see this movie, Friendship. I just saw the trailer. Shadow Force with Kerry Washington and Omar Sy. That may take away some of the black populace that goes to the theaters. I'm not entirely sure. And of course, Thunderbolts, that's a Marvel Disney big blockbuster. Even with this opening this weekend, I still think Sinners is going to have a good hold. I would not have guessed in a million years that it would have just dropped 4%. I wouldn't be surprised if it only dropped 10%, the next weekend. And so we'll see. And just about the drops, don't be misled or confused by this, because sometimes people make big deals about major drops and there's really no point. Like a 70%, even a 70 or 80% drop from weekend 1 and 2 cannot necessarily be a bad thing if the movie made a crap ton of money the first weekend. So let's just say, I think Black Panther made $202 million its first weekend. And yes, that is correct. $202 million this opening weekend. So if it has a 70% drop or 80% drop from week 1 and week 2, then okay, yeah, that's still a lot, but it's not the biggest deal because it made this right here. And studios, they get the bulk of the gross sales at the beginning of the theatrical run. After that, it's kind of like a scale. Like the first weekend, studios will get like 75% of, in the United States, studios will get 75% of the box office, while the theater owners will get 25. And then the next weekend too, studios will get like 70%. Then the theaters will get 30. Then week 3, studios will get 65. And then the theater owners will get 35. And it goes all like that. So theater owners want a longer theatrical run like Titanic or Avatar because they get much more of the money on the back end. Studios want the people that make the movie, they want to make as much as they can the opening weekend. So that's just a little bit of education for you right there if you care. But anyway, I just wanted to explain that real quick. But going back to Sinners, again, it may have a 10% drop. But again, guys, I don't think that Sinners is well, I don't think it's not going to do this internationally right now. And again, I hate to say that. I was initially, when I made that video, like black people aren't supporting Sinners enough, I was also comparing this to Nope. And the reason why is they had a similar opening weekend. $44 million right here for Nope. And then we go to Sinners, $48 million. Also, you're going to have somewhat of the same audience. You have Keke Palmer and also Daniel Kaluuya in the role. Those are two black people. Sinners has nothing but black people. Jordan Peele, he looks black, and I consider him black, but he is mixed. A lot of people don't know that his dad is black and his mother is white. I mean, I consider him a black man if he considers himself a black man, but black director, two black leads for Nope, and then black director and a bunch of black people in leads for Sinners. So there's some similarity there, same amount of, well, not same amount of budget, the same amount of opening. Now, the budget for Nope was only $68 million. So that, what is that, $22 million less than Sinners, if I did my math correctly. But I mean, 123 right here domestically. Again, like I said, I'm very confident that Sinners, well, they already passed it. So, you know, there you go. But the international numbers were not that high for Nope. And so I was like, damn, most likely that's going to be the same thing for Sinners. And so that's what scared me. That is what scared me right there, because like I said, while it's doing great domestically, we got to look at this bottom line right here at 168. And I don't know if this film is going to be profitable if you consider the $90 million production budget and then the $50 to $60 million marketing budget. Now, of course, guys, we have to go, since people want to say that I don't know what I'm talking about, or some people, and I need to do my research. Let's just say, because the film is not profitable right now at all. Let's just say 160, let's just round it up to 169 million. Okay, then we're going to subtract 90 million. And I'm gonna tell you why the math that I'm doing right now is wrong. Subtract 90 million, and then you want to subtract another $60 million for the marketing budget. So you got $19 million profit. But no, this is not a profit, because I did not take out the amount of money that the theater owners were gonna get from the gross sales. You have to do that first. Now, if we go to that article that Variety did last week that I covered by Miss Rebecca, I broke down her numbers and said why this does not make any sense. And so you can either listen now or go back. She put it still needs to gross 225 million globally for them to break even. And it also says that since theater owners keep half of ticket sales, okay? Again, I'm just trying to educate a little bit. So keep half of ticket sales, and they saying they need to make 225. Okay, 225 divided by 2. Oh, I said minus. Okay, sorry. 225 divided by 2. So if the theater, according to her, if it needs to make 225 million, and then the theater owners keep half, there's only $112 million left over. So then you subtract 90 million from the production budget, and then subtract the 60 million from marketing, you're in the negative $37.5 million. So this is why this does not make sense to me and does not add up. And so that is why I was saying you need to do it by 3 times. Okay, this $90 million budget times 3 is 270. All right. And if you do half of that, 135 minus 90 minus 60, they're still in the negative. That, I don't know why she put in here since the theater owners keep half of ticket sales. I've never heard of that in my life. Out of all the research and all the videos and film knowledge I've gained over the years, it's always been that the theater owners get at least a third of the box office sales. 1/3, 33%. Okay. So and also people say that you need to make 2.5 times the budget. So 90 times 2.5 is the 225 that we see right here. And I just kind of said how that doesn't make sense to me. I always say you got to do 3 times so you can be safe. So 90 times 3 is 270. Okay, so then if you take the 33% away that goes to the theater owners, they're going to get their cut. You have $178 million left over. Then you subtract the $90 million production budget. You have $88.2 million left over. And then you subtract the marketing, you have roughly a $28.2 million profit. This is not an exact science, but on average, the formula that I just ran through with you guys is how you can get a general idea of how much a film needs to make worldwide for the studios to warrant a profit. Also important to note, guys, this marketing budget right here, it is normally never provided to the general public. So this is a special case. Usually what people do to find out the marketing budget is on average, it's about half of the production budget. So if a movie is $90 million, like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood or Sinners in this case, half of the production budget will be $45 million. In this case, it's a little more. They said it's 50 to 60. That's the general rule. Now, sometimes a marketing budget can be the same exact as a production budget. There have been cases, I don't want to say many, but cases to where a production budget was 100 million and the marketing was 100 million. There's been times where the marketing budget has been more than a production budget. That doesn't happen often, but it has happened, but that's not in this case right here. So I have to be honest with you guys. I am rooting for this film. I've seen it twice at this point. I've paid for it once. The first time was free. I'm going to go pay for it again this week, and I'm going to make a little video or short and show my receipt. But right now, we're it's not a home run yet. Okay, I think it's still going to have another great haul. And if we look at the week, the first week it made $70 million, $77 million. I'm gonna say week 2 is gonna add another at least 60 million, 65 million. So all said and done, I think that Sinners will definitely cross over $200 million worldwide. I think that is a given at this point. I could be wrong. It may even make 225. Will it make the 270? I don't know. But I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do my absolute best to try to pub this movie and make, as many videos as I possibly can. Because I want this movie to do well. I want Ryan to get paid, Michael B. Jordan, Wunmi Masaku, everybody involved. This is also a special case because Ryan Coogler can get ownership of the film in 25 years, and this is a great video right here that I recommend all of you watch. Came out 4 days ago, but Ryan Coogler talking about the film, the details of his deal with the studio and why some people are tripping or not. He also just gave great shout outs and acknowledgement and accolades to Black American culture, Foundation of Black Americans. And that culture is all throughout this film, especially during that one scene in the middle where Sammy is singing, Miles Catton. Love that scene, my favorite of the movie. So y'all go ahead and check that out, man. The word of mouth is off the chain. 98 from the critics, 97 from the audience. Also has an A on Cinema Score right now. But we got to figure out, man, what it's going to do worldwide because, that's the bottom line. You have all of these headlines right here, and the headlines are not wrong. But it's not telling the whole story, and not to try to pick on people, but, people are going to make headlines, including myself, that's going to make you click on the video, click on the article. So, a lot of the headlines, oh yeah, it's the best horror movie. The Sinners has done things that no other horror movie has done in 10 years. And, okay, all this is true, but in my opinion, it doesn't really matter if the movie does not make money or not. And I don't want to give anybody any ammunition at all to say that Black people ain't going to show up or Black people can't make money or whatever. Ryan Coogler is in a great position right now, and I want him to be able to go to any studio like he kind of did with Sinners and be like, I want to do this, and this. And here's my receipts as to why, gimme. And they can't say, okay, here you go, make your money. I want him to have the same pool as Christopher Nolan, Michael Bay, James Cameron, all of that, and he's on his way there as well as far as trajectory is concerned. And guys, just because I did not think that Sinners was the best film of 2025 or think that it was a perfect 10 or anything like that, Doesn't mean that, you know, I didn't like the movie. I did like the movie a lot. There were some sequences I loved. It is some of the best sequences I've ever seen in some movies, period. But that doesn't mean I think the whole movie is just flawless. That's just not the case with me. So, you know, I just got to be honest with you there. And I'll be honest, some of y'all left some great comments, said some things that I didn't even think of. Like, okay, Brandon, not only is it not open the weekend, it's Easter. Some Christians may be offended that it's Easter weekend and Michael B. Jordan has a film called Sinners. I didn't think about that. Also, there's some of the stuff that should have been obvious to me, but just kind of flew over my head. Brandon, this is a rated R film. It's not PG-13. So people can't just go, smaller children or young adults can't just go see the movie themselves. They have to have their parent or guardian escort them in. I didn't think about that as well. Easter weekend, I mentioned that. Brandon, it's an R-rated film. Your average mom or dad is not gonna go take the child, an 8-year-old, to go see Sinners with all the sex. And I was like, okay, yeah, I just forgot about that. You know, I'm 40 years old. So of course, you know, I'm not thinking that way. I mean, I've thought of these things before, but right now it just kind of slipped my mind. And so, you know, taking all that into consideration, you know, of course I may have jumped the gun a bit. So, you know, my bad there, you know, but at the same time, people coming to me saying, hey, you don't know what you're talking about. The film is successful and it's making money. We can't say that yet. You know, if you can break down the math kind of like I did, and we can have a conversation, you know, I would love to have it. So I want this film to win. I want it to be successful and all that. I want it to profit. We're just not there yet. But I think we have a strong chance to get in there, and I'm gonna do absolutely everything I can to try to make that happen. So guys, again, thank y'all so much for tuning in to this video. I really do appreciate it. I have a ton of Sinners reviews on my channel. If you guys want to go check that out, there's my non-spoilery review. I also have part 1 spoilers review. And I got a few others as well on my channel. I got round 2 and round 3 and a trailer reaction. I just put my review up for The Accountant 2. But guys, thank y'all for tuning in. I think I covered everything I wanted in this video. And links to all my reviews for Sinners is in the description and the pinned comments. Peace out, and I will see y'all next time. Subscribe, 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 subscribe. Yeah.